Yeah, the intro is in Russian, but it's an old Punch, British magazine cartoon saying that whatever you feel like contradicting in life, there are moments when you have to mind your head, as they
Mm.
say in England. So, my guest today, hello, Madeline Brame. How are you?
Hello, good morning.
Madeline's our guest, and we're doing it in English. And we hope, my friends, that you will spread this to your non-Russian speaking friends. Вы это пошлете своим не говорящим по-русски друзьям, дорогие друзья, чтобы они знали, что происходит у нас здесь, в Нью-Йорке. Madeline Брейм идет в Конгресс против Джамала Боумана. This is just a few words for people who would not realize immediately why we all of a sudden speak English here.
Hmm.
Madeline, your
Yes.
story, and God forbid somebody to have a story in some parts like your story. Why you running?
Mm.
Can you start how it all began? Can
Yes.
you tell us, please?
First of all, I'd like to say good morning, happy Friday to you and all of your listeners and viewers.
Thank you.
Um, my son, Sergeant Hassan Korea, he was an Afghanistan war retired veteran. Survived the battlefield, received and returned enemy fire on the Taliban to confirm kills on the battlefield of Afghanistan. Came home and he was killed in Harlem in 2018 by a family of homicidal maniacs who had no business being free in the streets to terrorize and do what they did to my son. There was an altercation between Hassan's father and another man half his age, and Hassan defended his father, and Hassan ended up being gang assault and stabbed to death. Hassan was stabbed 9 times. He died from a fatal stab wound at the scene to his heart. Hassan's father was also stabbed 12 times by these four individuals when he tried to come to Hassan's aid. When EMS arrived, both Hassan and his father were both unresponsive. They were able to revive the father, but it was already too late for Hassan. He had bled to death, bled out in the gutter. Hassan was outnumbered. There were four with a knife against one with his hands. So he had no chance of defending himself against these four savages. Um, just to speed it up a little bit, uh, the case was heard in Manhattan Criminal Court. It took 7 months for NYPD, the detective squad, the homicide squad, the fugitive squad to round up all four of these people, which I think was amazing because, especially in New York City, there are so many homicides that have gone unsolved for years because the killers have ran and New York just doesn't, use the resources to go after these people because poor people's lives don't matter. Homicide victims' lives don't matter. So it was because of my determination and my constant going to the precinct, staying on their back, calling them several times a day. I annoyed them so bad to make sure that they were on that case and that these people were going to be brought to justice. So the case was heard in Manhattan Criminal Court. Cyrus Vance was the district attorney at the time, and I had a veteran district attorney, old school, played hardball, and I was assured that all four of these individuals were going to be brought to justice and tried and punished to the fullest extent of the law. This entire homicide was captured on video. So there was never any question in the parts that any of them played um, in the gang assault and the homicide. Fast forward a little bit, COVID happened and the courts shut down for a year, but we still had video conference and video um, hearings. Mary Saunders, the sister, was the only one given a bail. Everyone was charged and indicted for first degree gang assault and second degree murder. There were never any plea deals, never any bargains, never any bail for anyone. Mary was the only one who was given a $750,000 bail because she had never been arrested before. Um, right before 2020, when the courts opened back up, Alvin Bragg was elected into office, and immediately the case was handed to another judge, a more liberal, progressive, restorative justice judge and district attorney, because my original district attorney retired, because she retired early because she knew that she wouldn't be able to prosecute crime any longer with this new, progressive restorative justice ideology, bail reform, and all this other kind of stuff. So Mary bailed out because her bail was reduced to $12,000. That was the first time that the courts had ever exercised any of the provisions in the bail reform law, because it stipulates that a person cannot be held on an amount of bail that the family can afford without causing a hardship. It didn't matter what she was charged with. All right. It didn't matter what she was charged with. Murder, gang assault, didn't matter. It was just across the board. Just these sweeping, new provisions and rules that apply to every criminal that was currently, incarcerated or had charges pending. So Mary's family couldn't afford 12,000, and her bail was reduced from 750,000 down to 12, and Mary bailed out on Christmas Eve 2019. And she never saw the inside of another jail cell. If it wasn't for her, Hassan would be alive. She chased Hassan. She held Hassan while her brother stabbed him to death. Right? And she chased him onto the sidewalk and watched Hassan drop dead, and ran away and left his dead body in the gutter to bleed out. And this is all on video. So once again, just to speed it up, not to drag it out, because it's all over. You can just Google it.
Yes, your story is
The story
was
is
on
everywhere.
Fox News. It was on other
It's
channels.
everywhere.
Even President Trump mentioned
Yes,
your
it's a true
story.
story. It's a true story. It's a
And
true
you did
story.
what the citizens are, we citizens are telling each other. You shouldn't remain silent. You should stand up. You should
Absolutely.
fight for your rights. You should fight for what's right. And you did all that. And it took
Yes.
quite some time. But
Yes. It
you
took
went
five
through all
years.
this,
It took
unlike
5 years.
many of us who just say it to others and we
No.
remain silent and
You see,
sitting
when it's
down.
your child, right? I don't know how many of your listeners actually have ever had a child who just died from sickness or homicide or accidental overdose. But the loss of a child does something completely different. All right. It's something that you cannot put into words. Only a mother will understand the fight. Okay. The mama bear comes out.
Yeah,
Right? All bets are off. All bets are off.
that's true.
It's like we're ready to rip whoever is responsible or whoever's not responsible to shreds with our bare hands. And that's just how serious that is. That's just how serious it is. So, 4 people, 2 people only end up really, being held accountable for Hassan's murder. The two brothers, James and Christopher Saunders, both career criminals. Christopher was out on parole for attempted murder on a police officer at the time he killed my son. He had no business even being out. And this is a story that is not uncommon, especially in Black and brown communities where the crime rate is very high, and all kinds of stuff is happening. And then they came with the bail reform, the raise the age, the less is more, the elder parole, all those disastrous policies that removed all barriers or restrictions to any type of protections or to hold criminals accountable for the crimes that they commit. I don't know why progressives and liberals thought that this was a good idea. They use the excuse that Black people are disproportionately affected by the criminal justice system. Well, I have a news flash. Black people are disproportionately the ones committing the crime. All right. So why shouldn't they be held responsible or accountable? Especially violent recidivists, people who are going around raping, robbing, assaulting, killing. These people have no place in society. There's a place for them. It's called jail, and that's where they should be. But anyway, these policies released this type of carnage onto the public. And these policies have been no more than a runaway train that has crashed directly into, black and brown communities. The very people that it was disguised to help is hurting the most. So we continue the fight for that, for mothers and families of homicide victims, not just gun violence, because I believe in our constitutional right to protect ourselves and to arm ourselves. Hassan was a gun enthusiast. He was an expert in weaponry. He owned several guns. He was licensed and registered to carry them all. All right, and I believe in the right to protect yourself. I believe that these bodegas, these small shops, I'm sure in your communities, in the Russian community, there are many. All right,
Yeah.
beauty parlors, nail salons, barber shops. All right, these little small shops, they should have the right to arm themselves and protect themselves from people who come in and try to take their stuff. And in New York right now, unfortunately, people don't have the right to do that. If somebody comes in and tries to rob you or knock you in the head or stab you, you can't defend yourself.
That's
And
correct.
what sense does that make? What sense does that make? So yeah, I decided to throw my hat into the ring and run for Congress in New York 16. Now, that covers a large part of your viewing covers certain areas up in New York 16. Um, and I would just like to directly say to those listeners right now that I am not too familiar with you yet. All right. But I will be. You will see me at your supermarket. You will see me in your laundromats. You will see me anywhere, any type of public forum. I will come there and make myself known to you, and I will speak to you directly. I can relate to you just like you can relate to me. There are issues, that just transcend all political ideologies, races, religions, colors, and we need to remove barriers. We need to remove the barriers that have been in the way where, the message, the message can transcend to all people. Because at the end of the day, we're all Americans. We're all Americans, and we all believe in God and family and country. No matter what your ideology is, we were all raised with those values. Now, New York 16 consists of a small, a section in the Bronx, uh, Eden Wall houses, which is one of the largest public housing complexes. I call them democratic plantations, all right, in the five boroughs, all right, which is completely devastated and has been ignored and has been neglected for decades. For decades, all right. Currently, Jamal Bauman, these people don't even know who he is. They don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even Hakim Jeffries in my district here where I live, people I come to them and I say, "Who's representing you in the House of
they don't even know.
Representatives?" They say, "We have no idea." Have you heard of Hakim Jeffries? Uh,
No,
like 7 out of 10 never heard of him,
never heard of him.
and
You
it's
know
a
why?
blessing actually. But that's the fact too.
Because the Democrats have taken advantage and taken that vote for granted for decades. They know that all they have to do is number one, be black, and number two, be a Democrat. And that the people who do vote, because people are not overwhelmingly voting out of these districts. They're just not showing up to the poll because they don't feel like their vote counts. Because like, you're a witness to it and I'm a witness to it. People don't even know who the representative is. They don't even know when the elections are. The voter education, the voter registration is so low. All right. The people, you actually have to spoon feed. You have to spoon feed the people. You have to go to them, open up the form for them, point it out, show them what to do. And whose fault is that? Yes, the people are responsible. The people are responsible. However, the Democratic Party has been able to package this thing, okay, and um, focus on racism and slavery and oppression, and everything's the white man's fault, and everything's the Republicans' fault, and everything. Nobody has to take responsibility for themselves. So it's easy. It's easy for people to ignore because, hey, I get my food stamps every month. I get my Section 8 rent paid for every month. I get a couple of dollars in my pocket. Why should I have to worry about it? Hey, this is good. This is life. They don't know anything outside of 10 blocks this way or 10 blocks that way.
Yeah.
Right?
And then times come when they say, listen, we have so many migrants in the city. We
Yeah.
have to cut across the board 5% of every agency's budget.
Yeah.
And it's stupid to think that it won't touch everybody who lives in New York City.
Everybody. You got from Wakefield, from the Eden Wall houses to Mount Vernon to New Rock City to New Rochelle. You have Getty Square in Yonkers. You have Larchmont. This is when we're going up now. Scarsdale. Different places where are well-to-do zip codes where that are not really affected by the devastation that's really happening, in these underserved and underprivileged communities closer to the city. All right. But I will be a representative for everyone. For everyone. My message is the same. I am authentic. I am organic. I am who I am. And my message will resonate with everyone because we're all Americans and we're all New Yorkers. We're all hardworking, tax-paying, voting New Yorkers, and we just want a decent life. And the only way that this is going to happen is that we vote these people who are currently in office. I'm talking about from city council to Albany to Congress.
That's correct.
Anybody who's in these seats who has this crazy ideology, pushing these crazy policies that are destroying the very fabric. You have the Make America Great Again hat on.
Yes.
We need to really, really get back to our core, to our roots, to the things that made America great and not be ashamed of it. Because if we don't, other countries are already invading us right here, and
Correct.
pushing their lifestyle, pushing their beliefs on us and forcing us. This is America. This is America. We're built on strong principles, strong values. We were the shining light on the hill. We're losing all kinds of, ground and we're an embarrassment. Other countries are looking at us and like, look at America. You have a president who,
They
is
use every chink in the armor. They have specially trained apparatus like they have in Russia for many, many years. And
mhm,
they know about America. Take it from me, who lived 36 years in the Soviet Union.
yeah,
They look at America much closer than they look at their own country.
exactly.
Because there's nothing to be. I mean, how long you can brag about like first man in space, and the taking over Afghanistan, and it was that never happened. Basically, Afghanistan always remained what it was, and
Mhm,
Russians left after very unsuccessful campaign. After all, didn't
mhm,
make the regime change, and then we know the part two of this story when the U.S. Army had to go there after September 11 in chasing Bin Laden and stuff like that. Who was at the time in a friendly Pakistan,
mhm,
just
mhm.
next door to Ministry of Interior of Pakistan, by the way. Also such. So that's it. But you have a stake in the game, and you have a story that brought you here. You didn't wake up one morning and say, oh, I have a couple of
No.
dollars I want to spend on campaign. You came there for a reason. And your opponent, Jamal Bowman, the male component of the squad,
Mhm,
right? The
mhm.
friends was Ocasio
AOC,
Cortez and
yeah.
Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan
Yeah.
Omar, Ayanna Presley, and couple more kind of mentioned or non-mentioned in the connection with them.
Hmm.
He made himself very famous. He raised his profiles recently uh, to like sky high when he initially tried to open the door, as he said, and then he started the fire alarm, which he hoped would help him to open the door. But
Hmm.
everybody knows in this country that fire doors, fire exits, they open from inside
That's right.
easily. That's how it is. If it's not in the in on the Capitol Hill, if buildings have arranged differently, they're in trouble. But he just pulled the, the alarm, and he stopped the proceedings, which was basically interfering with official situation, with
Yes.
official
Yes.
functions, which was basically given as a to which was the J6 people, January 6 people were accused of. It's
Hmm.
a similar sort of accusation, although, of course, that we see that every disgraceful effort was made to blow it up
Of
into
course.
something that was not there. I was there. I was there. And this tricky editing that they manipulated, and the session of the commission, Liz Cheney, and I call him Madam Kinzinger, this the crying gentleman, so-called Republican, who immediately removed himself from politics, but
Mhm.
remained on X on Twitter.
Excuse me.
So yes, yeah, and so it's a kind of when we all get cold and catch cold in one form or another in New York, the change of seasons
Yes.
and sore throats, etc.
Excuse
But
me. Mhm.
we are pushing on. We are we want to change things in New York. Let me ask you this: was your example inspiring after you went on TV, on national TV? You were on Fox and Friends. You were on Laura Ingraham. Most my favorite part
Yeah.
was you and Laura,
Yeah.
and I recommend everybody to go and see. It's one of the pieces that show up when you Google Madeline Brame on your computer. And did you see people who approached you and say, "I was in a similar situation, asking your advice, asking your," because I know that it's not rare
Hmm.
in our city to
Hmm.
lose someone to street violence, to crime. How was that?
Thousands. Thousands. You know, not just New York City, all across the country. Um, the focus in New York City has been on gun violence, right? So I didn't get a warm reception from the Democrats in New York City because my son's story did not fit their narrative because Hassan was stabbed to death and not shot to death. So the nonprofits, the violence interrupters, the community advocates, my story would have not fit their narrative. So they shunned me, they ostracized me, they treated me like I was an annoyance. Even all the way up to Al Sharpton, to the National Action Network, to many of the politicians, to Letitia James, to Eric Adams, to Jamani Williams. I went to their offices, knocked on their doors, went crying, all right, for these people to please listen about what's happening with my son. And they looked at me like I was crazy. Well, what do you want us to do?
Yeah,
You know how many people come to us, like if I was begging them for welfare or something. I just wanted them to listen. But people from all over the country have reached out to me, mothers. I have a strong group of mothers of homicide victims who I speak with often. There's not a lot that I can do for them to bring back their son, but I can certainly encourage them, and I can certainly inspire them. And when they're going through some very, very dark moments, I can share with them my own experiences. And this is how we heal, by bonding together this way and sharing our experiences and our strengths and our hopes with one another, how to get through one moment at a time. Sometimes it takes 1 second at a time because everybody's grief process is different. However, just knowing that there is somebody on the other line or on the other end who you can text, you can call, you can send a message to that says, send you a heart, send you, a smile, send you a hug, because there's nothing that we can do to change it or bring our child back. But we still have to learn how to cope, all right, and how to get up and function on a daily basis, especially if there's other children. All right, we have to, and it's very hard. It's very difficult to do that. And it can't be done without the support of another person who can relate to and identify with what you're going through. I have a sister whose son was also murdered 14 years ago in a drive-by shooting. She went into extreme depression. They didn't catch the killer until 12 years, 2 years ago. All right. Now, he was only 14 years old, and she went into a deep, deep depression for all 12 of those years. There was nothing you could do. She couldn't go to the cemetery. You couldn't talk about him or nothing. She wanted to hold on to that pain. And that's the way she processed her grief. That's the way she processed it. Each one of us has our own way of doing that. But, in essence to what you're saying, moms, fathers, all across the country, have reached out to me, and I've been able to assist them in any small way that I possibly could. There is no money involved in this. This is not something that a person gets rich off of, but I'm rich in other ways. I'm rich in ways that I'm helping someone else, and that in return helps give me closure, and it also helps me heal from my own pain and my own grief, because I know that a small part of my son still lives. His memory, still will live. All right. And that there's so much power in it that it can help someone else. And this is what we have to do for one another.
Yeah.
This is what we have to do. We have to reach out to one another and just share that, that love and just that strength and just that few words of encouragement. You never know how effective it can be. Everybody looks for material things and monetary, benefit. There is none of that. I'm the first to tell you. I'm a poor Black woman. I work a 9 to 5 every day. All right. I struggle on a daily basis. All right. To pay my rent because of the economy, to buy food. But I do it because I'm rich in other ways. God has given me gifts. He has given me gifts that can help other people. So that's my reward. And that's all I
Yeah.
can say. That's all I can say about that.
You
Yeah,
know, we analyze the tactics of our counterparts of the side that we are kind of arguing with politically. I don't want to use the word fight because it's a word that gets you in trouble in today's America, although everybody's using it. But our kind of other side, the Hillary Clinton's mentor, so to speak, Saul Alinsky, coined the phrase, power is perception of power.
that's right.
And it works both ways. If
Hmm.
you feel like nothing makes you feel better faster than doing good to other people.
That's right. That's right. And that's why I can smile. That's why I can smile. That's why I give so freely of myself. That's why I share Hassan's story. Even as tragic as it is, it's tragic. There's hope and there's, inspiration. Just had a mom from Huntington. Her son was killed 2 years ago, right? And the outcome didn't turn out too good with the court case and everything because the
Yeah.
guy, the kid was only 14. All right. So because of the raise the age law, he only got like 12 years or something. So he'll do 10, and her son is dead forever. But I was able to help her through that. I was able to help her navigate through the court system and the right questions to ask the DA and what not to say and, prepare herself for her victim impact statement and different things like that. And through that gave her strength. So now she's advocating. She's advocating and helping other moms, and sharing her story with people and keeping her son's memory alive as well. So those are the rewards. It's not glamorous. It's not glamorous. It's not, something that, if I were to walk into, a banquet or a fundraiser or something like that, no one would ever know. No one would ever know that that's the type of thing that brought me into that room.
Let me ask you, Madeline. Uh, Do you feel like many people are leaving Democrat plantation, as they say these days?
Absolutely.
Do they see what's going on, or they just sit there happy with their TV in every room and the phone in every hand and the I don't know, the whatever, the soft drinks in the and hard drinks in the freezer,
you know,
in the fridge?
I can't speak for everyone, but I know that the people that I know, okay, that I speak to on a daily basis, within my own family. I come from a predominantly Democratic zip code out in Suffolk County, Long Island. All right, and everybody is talking about changing party affiliation and never voting Democrat again. Everybody is talking about it. And Uncle Trump, Uncle Trump is the cool thing to say. Everybody likes Trump. All right. They have rap songs out about him, Trump
Yeah.
money and all kinds of stuff, Latinos for Trump. Everything is cool. The gear is cool, the flags are cool, it's just cool. Trump is the man. All right. And because of that, because people in predominantly democratic and minority communities are so image driven, all right, the image that's being portrayed of Trump to our community is very appealing.
No, also you see the man being accused of so
I was
many
just getting ready to
things,
say that. He's one of us. He's a
and
boy.
he's
He's a
fighting like
homeboy.
hell. He's
He's a
giving them,
homeboy, and he's handling it like a trooper.
yeah.
He goes to every court date. He sits up there. He's got his lawyers behind him. He's not flinching. He's not blinking.
And in the evening, he's sitting with Sean Hannity or in the
That's
middle
right.
of some rally,
He's talking
like
junk and making
nothing's
people
going
laugh.
on. He's
Talking junk and
smiling
making
and
people laugh.
joking. It's people
And
just
so,
cannot disassociate from whatever
yeah.
notions they have in their mind.
But yes, everywhere I go, Yuri, people are leaving the plantation of the Democratic Party. Even before this illegal situation happened. Right? As soon as the economy started going down, as soon as they passed those disastrous laws, all right, that made crime go up and made people unsafe, people were starting to pay attention. Wait a minute. What the hell? You think that mothers from the black community want their sons out there in the street gang banging? All right. Do you think that they would rather get a call from them from Rikers Island that they're alive, mom locked up, crying, I need commissary, than from the coroner and the coroner telling them where to go to identify their dead son's body? There are many, many mothers who cannot understand why the system is allowing their sons to just keep coming in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And eventually they're going to end up killing themselves or killing someone else. Mothers don't want that. We didn't vote for that. The illegal situation, has transcended. There's two fronts, Chicago and New York City, where the blacks are beginning to stand up, all right, and beginning to speak out. Which brings me to, I will be traveling to Chicago in the next couple of weeks to meet with that group from Chicago, all right, and we're going to have a roundtable and we're going to come up with some solutions. Demanding to meet with Trump is not going to help anyone, right? Demanding to meet with Trump, is just for
No,
image.
what you need to probably ask for a meeting with Joe Biden or the mayor of
Yes.
Chicago. But those are useless people. If they cannot do anything right now, and then they become defensive when you come to them, I don't think that they
Well,
would do much.
the thing is, they want to hear from black conservatives and black Republicans. That's what they want to hear from. All
Yeah.
right. And this is, I don't care what anyone says, okay? If Republicans really want to move the needle and change the trajectory and win some of these blue seats, really, really, really have to engage and reach out to minority communities because it's ripe. It's ripe, and people are on the brink right there, all right, of walking away and never voting for another Democrat again. They're the key to the win. Now, my campaign manager, you know, doesn't necessarily believe all the way in that because it's never been done before. People have tried, but it's never happened. Well, those people are not me. All right, those people are not me. Those people didn't have the story that I have. Those people can't connect. I'm not saying that there's going to be this miraculous change, but what I'm saying is that we could begin to change the narrative and change the thinking and believe and begin to move that needle in the opposite direction. And it just takes a little bit of outreach, a little bit of out, not a little bit, and I'm not saying going and giving these people, making a bunch of promises. No, I'm talking about going and be sincere and talking real talk to these people, real talk, and showing them that there is somebody who really, really cares and is really concerned about their issues and can identify with them.
Madeline, thank you so very much. Madeline Brame, candidate for Congress, House of Representatives, versus Jamal Bowman, 16th District of New York. Thank
Yes.
you so very much,
You're
Madeline.
welcome.
I'm so happy to have you here, and your voice uh, is, I don't know, everything we need basically, and more from the one of the parts of American society, one of the parts
Yes.
of the community that you change the whole perspective with your words. Trust me, your words are powerful, and they will move people, and they don't just they explode this needle.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to
Mm-hmm.
get the secret is, and that's going longer than I was wanted to say,
That's
just
okay.
three words. But I want to say that when we say Republicans, we don't mean rank and file Republicans. I
No.
understand. We understand. We're talking about the establishment Republicans. Establishment Republicans, the organizers, Republicans in our community, and conservatives as well. They need to. They usually go when they feel, when there is a movement of people, when there is a wave, that gets them going. So it goes from the bottom up this way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they sense the movement among people. They look at the polls, and then they start doing something to
Well,
promote what
I
you
think
do.
it's just a little bit too late. It's just too little, too late. All right. I think that they need to take the bull by the horns and get a backbone, get a
Yeah,
set of balls, get a set of balls. All right, and get behind a candidate like myself. All right, and really help support me. Just support me. Throw their endorsement. Throw their. I never understood why we need so much money, but you know, we need the money. We need the money to be able to be effective because, to run a campaign, it is expensive. But, I just wish that they would stand up more, and throw their support behind, a viable candidate who's talking real talk, who's
yeah, and
talking
walks the
real.
walk,
Yeah,
walks the walk too.
that's
Uh,
right.
Everybody, connections are under this video. When you see it online, you see the annotation to it at the bottom, and there are links to the website where you can learn more about Madeline Brame and her claim to become the representative for her area. And she really is a great candidate, I think, based on the impression and what I read about her. So take a closer look and tell us what you think. This program is always open for you. Write to me in the comments below. Ms. Brame, thank you so very much for being with us. This
Thank you so much for having me, Yuri. You have a wonderful weekend. Um, God bless you, your family, and may your podcast and may all the work that you're doing be effective and touch the hearts and minds and lives of everyone that listens to your program. God bless you, and
I
thank you so
think we
much.
did this time. Thank you
Yes,
so much. Thank
you're
you, Madeline.
welcome. You're
Bye
welcome.
bye.
Bye.